века, то есть свой интерес накал. Пламенела заря города, неминуемо ее малы, будто вела ехидна. Тут человек пропадал навсегда, самом себе себя же не было видно.
Hello everybody, Sonny Puzikas here with Forward Training Concepts and Gospel of Violence podcast. Today we will be talking about a quite interesting and I think actually very fundamental topic. And that is the topic addressing the holsters. Now I refer to holster as a fighting holster. The reason I do that is if we objectively look at the reasons why we carry a firearm. Generally speaking, this is not some kind of a accessory to look good that enhances my presentation in society in public. This is not something that increases my comfort, my value, my worth. It's a tool. It's a tool that we make a conscious decision to carry in case we are faced with a situation where that tool that we carry could make a difference. For that very reason, holster as a device has to accommodate certain functions that would make ability to use that tool to the highest efficiency and proficiency levels. The idea of the Berkut holster, over time with training, experimenting, going over untold numbers of different holster designs, I have not found one holster that would accommodate that which I consider to be a number one priority that device such a holster should provide. And that is the most efficient accessibility to the weapon when, and God forbid, if I need to access that weapon. So the idea for the Berkut was that it would have a reverse cant. What do we mean by reverse cant? If you look at most of the holsters, and this is what I'm demonstrating here, it's in no way, shape, or form meant to critique certain manufacturer or certain design. Most of the holsters have a cant that's either neutral cant, meaning the weapon sits straight up. It's not canted one way or the other. What you will notice, this is a appendix carry holster. What you will notice is that if it's placed on the belt, the holster would sit in a neutral cant. So it's not canted this way, and it's not canted to a reverse cant. When we look at some other holsters, and this one is not designed for a weapon with red dots, nevertheless, you can see that the way the straps are, this would accommodate a cant forward, thus increasing the distance between the belt line and the front end of the pistol grip, accommodating your hand being able to establish proper grip. Both of these holsters and many others are quality made by reputable companies that stand behind their product. Again, my problem was not with any of the manufacturers, with any of the companies. My problem was design itself. So idea behind the Berkut was that we were going to go about designing the holster and eventually producing the holster, following four main priorities that holster should address. And number one priority to me personally, unequivocally, was accessibility of the weapon. What I noticed over the years, looking at websites, looking at other media by many of the holster manufacturers, was that there are two main priorities that holster manufacturers were pushing, and you could find it on their front page, was how well that holster will conceal the weapon and how comfortable that holster will be. So concealability and comfort, those are mainly the two priorities that absolute majority of holster manufacturers and companies selling holsters push as two big pluses to their product. Reality of life is such that in the civilian realm, and I'm not talking any kind of cosplay special forces, I'm not talking any kind of special operations, SWAT teams, any kind of environments where individuals carrying the firearms have a luxury to position those firearms in such a way, be it drop leg holsters, be it holsters that are significantly removed from the body, where your belt, your body shape, your clothes will not present any kind of difficulty in accessing that weapon. I was looking strictly for the realm of the civilian citizen carrying a firearm. Berkut from the get-go was an idea of nothing more but appendix carry, appendix positioning. That is to say, front of the body, close to the axis, close to the center line. That is something that I personally have come to believe to be the superior place to carry a firearm for a civilian. So appendix positioning to me offered the best options for my top two priorities. Number one being accessibility. Number two priority being defendability of the weapon. What if in any given situation, being stand up, someone lunges at you, someone grabs you, you being pushed against the wall, you in the confined space between the vehicles, you in the doorway, you in the elevator, you in the phone booth, you've been tackled, you on the ground, you in the grappling situation, and someone is trying to get access to your weapon. What would be the positioning of that weapon that allows you and gives you the best options to prevent the other person accessing your weapon? And accessibility, again, due to simple mechanics, due to simple biomechanics and the geometry of the body and how our limbs work in relationship to things that we have on our body and we need to present it, whether you're pulling something out of the pocket, whether you're pulling something off of your belt, you have your phone on your belt, you have something else, you have the key ring, all those movements to access things off of your waistline. If you look at it objectively, the most efficient way would be having any of those items closer to the center line. That way your access movement does not involve some kind of a flagging, some kind of a chicken winging, unnecessary shoulder movement, unnecessary increase of the picture of the shadow that you present to your opponent and or observers. Working within your frame is only possible, and when I say working within your frame, think of it as a frame as you stand normally. That is your frame, that is your normal size, that is your normal shape. The question where the weapon, the handgun, should be placed in order for you to work the most efficiently is easily answered whether you do it in front of camera or in front of the mirror or someone observing you. And if person observing you or camera lens captures the movement that involves something like this when you're accessing the weapon, captures the movement that, again, observer and or an adversary can connect the dots as to the meaning of that movement, what that movement means to them. If the placement of your weapon requires that such things have to happen in order for you to access the weapon, you may want to ask yourself a question: why is it that I carry it there? Most likely what you will find that the answer will be either comfort or concealment. It's not going to be accessibility, and it's not going to be defendability. And again, to me, I cannot overemphasize this enough. the main factors in determining your holster selection should be accessibility of your weapon and defendability of your weapon. Only after that, after number 1 and 2, we come to number 3, which in my opinion is comfort. Because if holster is not comfortable and you are constantly in pain, it's rubbing, it's pinching, it's doing other things that generally we don't enjoy, most likely it's just a human nature, which is again the greatest excuse for many things that we do wrong, is we will find excuse not to carry that weapon. And eventually, after we do it once or twice, it starts getting into the realm of becoming a habit. We're gonna say, well, I'm going to this place, it's safe, it's not a dangerous place, it's not high-risk environment, I'm okay, I don't need to carry a weapon. Sets very dangerous precedent, and that's not what we want. So comfort is important, but again, on my list, comfort comes at number 3 after accessibility, defendability, then comfort. And only as the last priority, as the last factor determining holster design is concealment. Now, I will say this, in certain situations, due to your social status, due to your work or employment, due to places you go, concealment may be more important to some of the folks than it is to the others that live in more rural environment, that live in more quote-unquote gun-friendly places of the world. At the same time, I will tell you this. I have had people on the internet, especially, making statements along the lines of, well, I'm not going to be dressing around the weapon. I'm not going to be changing the style of my clothing or my fashion sense or anything of that nature to accommodate carry of the weapon. And thus, if the holster does not provide perfect concealment, while a 215-pound muscular dude wants to wear medium-sized shirt, that is not good holster. I can waste a lot of time trying to talk to individuals like that, but I'm simply not going to do that. Yes, you should look into dressing around the weapon. If it's so important to you to show your ultra-athletic figure and your bulging muscles and your lats and your other features that are, very impressive, at least in your own mind, do what you need to do, carry the way you decide to carry. This is addressed to adults. This is addressed to those who can objectively think and prioritize. So, looking into that, to me, became painfully obvious that design of the holster, and that design being driven by priorities that, in my opinion, are as backwards. First being concealability and comfort, and then accessibility, defendability somewhere, most often not even mentioned. That holster design. Now I want you to repeat this to yourself slowly and try to understand the meaning and the gravity of this. Design of your gear has shaped the way you will use your gun. Again, design of the holster has shaped the way we're going to access the gun. I don't believe this is the way things should be, and I don't believe that this is the direction that you want your training to take, where any piece of equipment that you own that is related to violence, to fighting, to carrying weapons, or any other kind of gear that could be used in violent situations, that gear drives how we train and how we fight. Gear, in my opinion, should accommodate the most efficient way to do the work. If gear doesn't, I believe that gear should go into a bin or eBay or donations. So let's go over the factors that industry in general tells us that are important in the way we're accessing the weapon, and then connect it how it relates to a holster design. The most common approach to a draw stroke, that is to say, of how we get in touch with the weapon, how we grab it, and how we extract it, removing it from the holster, and then present it into a fight. It will have you come from, after you clear the garments from the weapon, it will have your hand come from above, establishing this relationship first. Then and only then, your fingers will wrap around the front end of the pistol grip. And then you will initiate the extraction of the weapon from the holster. Then it's going to move up to a certain level before you present it and straighten out your wrist. Start moving out forward before you connect your support hand to the weapon. Which part of the grip is the most important? This part of a grip, the back strap, or this part of the grip, the front of your pistol grip? I submit to you that I can probably still deploy the weapon and shoot it quite well without having anything in the back. So if I remove my thumb from the back, I can still use the weapon. Now, conversely, if I only have this, but the three fingers in front are not connected, and I try to work this, I very seriously doubt that you will not experience a serious malfunction after the first shot. So to me, this is primary, this is secondary as far as your main shooting hand contact with the pistol, your grip. So if this is primary, why do we establish this second and not first? Well, I'm glad you asked. That is dictated by a holster design. And what you see in a lot of holsters is that you will have devices as such. Okay? And what this is supposed to do, when the holster goes inside your waistband, this presses on the inside of your pants and then the belt, okay, and thus pressing the holster closer to your body. What happens is that holster being closer to your body, so as you can see here, in this kind of arrangement, the gun is not pressed very snugly against my body. It kind of sticks out, right? If I use reverse cant, it actually comes right over the belt line, not being pressed into my body as such to facilitate better concealment. So when you have devices that press on the inside of the pants, press this way, that way holster is being moved closer to the body. What that does, it does not allow your hand to establish, your fingers to establish access on the front of the pistol grip. You have to come from above, establish this first, and then sneak in, squeezing your fingers there, establishing the grip, and then accessing your weapon. Berkut design specifically goes in the opposite direction. I didn't want this gun to be pressed closer to the body to accommodate concealment, but remove my ability for my three main fingers to access the weapon, the front of the pistol grip. in a natural movement coming from underneath the weapon. Because when I need the weapon, it's going to have to go up and out. With the traditional holster designs, when they are canted this way, you don't have ability, because the weapon is pressed tighter against your body, you don't have ability to establish this grip. Again, due to weapon being pressed. So we are forced to come from above the weapon, establish the backstrap grip, then squeeze in the 3 fingers on the front of the pistol grip, and then and only then access the weapon. If I need to go up, why am I starting this process by going down? Why would I want to go down and then up? Instead, when you have a reverse cant of the weapon and that pistol grip is not pressed into the body, but is sitting over the belt line, not preventing your 3 fingers going right under, establishing that proper grip, and continuing in the desired direction, accessing the weapon and onto a presentation. What we did add to Berkut, though, for that pistol not to sit, not to be slanted out too much, what my good friend Chris Green from Green Force Tactical referred to as a dig bump. And if you're offended by that, so be it. So this little thing here, what we call dig bump, when it goes, it's inside your pants, it will have similar effect. Okay. So this one is against your body. It will have similar effect of slightly tilting the gun, but it does not have that other device that it's not just tilts, but it also turns the holster. I'm okay with the tilt for the gun to sit closer to the body. I'm not okay with the twist to hide and put the pistol grip straight against the body, thus eliminating my ability to come underneath the gun on my way up to present the weapon into function. Original Berkut that was produced by different company, not the one that produces current Berkuts, did not have one feature that current Berkuts have, and that is ability to move this. So you basically have one point of connection to the holster body, which often itself, there's a lot of positive about it, because you don't have numerous stress points affecting the material where cracks can happen and on and on. This is just a single point connection. And then you have a sway bar that you can adjust prior to using your holster, whichever angle you want to use it. Okay. Or even within the usage of the holster, you can have it placed, strapped, prepared for easy access, with the pistol grip hanging over the belt, not pressed into the body. Okay, quick access, positive grip. Now, if I need this to be better concealed because I'm walking into a certain place and I don't feel comfortable, all it takes is, even over your clothes when they're sitting over it, just a slight movement with your elbow and the cant changes. Now the gun is better concealed, it's harder to see, and you have the concealment. Again, very casually, you can easily with your hand or with your elbow press it out, and now it's ready for deployment. This kind of design allows you really to make these adjustments and then establish a proper grip with the initial contact with the weapon without having to come from above, sneak your fingers in, and then go back up. There is no need for downward motion, reverse the direction, upward motion, presentation. Everything comes from underneath and into action. What you will also notice that with the holsters that have a regular traditional cant or neutral cant, once you place your hand on the pistol grip, okay, your wrist does not have a good alignment that would be needed when we use and deploy the weapon. Your wrist will have to come with a significant deviation from biomechanically correct alignment in order for you to establish good grip. I submit to you, nobody shoots, or at least shoots well, with the wrist looking like this. This is a little bit closer to what we want to have. Reverse cant allows a much closer to optimal wrist alignment when you're accessing the weapon. So when your hand comes to the weapon and you're establishing the grip, your hand is already very close to a proper biomechanical alignment the way you're gonna present and shoot the weapon. Otherwise, this happens, this needs to happen. Reverse cant, your hand, your wrist already has alignment that you want to have when you deploy the weapon into action. So our sway bar with a single point contact to the holster body, ability to adjust the angle from neutral to traditional to reverse cant while on your body is what makes Berkut one-of-a-kind holster in this industry. I'm pretty sure, and I've heard that there are designs by now who have taken certain liberties in interpretation of this idea, of this concept. I haven't played with most of them yet. I've seen a couple, but that's to be expected. That's they say, you know, that it's the highest form of flattery when someone imitates someone else's work. I'm not upset. When we introduced Berkut 2, which is produced by Green Force Tactical out of Florida, this was a first holster design that allowed for flexibility of a sway bar and user's choice between the cant of the weapon while the weapon is in place in your holster on your waistline. The original Berkut design, you had to preset that angle prior to using your holster, and it was not adjustable while in use. Yes, because of the sway bar design, it adds not very significant but certain amount of bulk. Very recently, within the last, I would say, 6 or 9 months, there is a sway bar that's made out of titanium that is significantly thinner. And if you look at this, it does not add much to the profile, to the bulk of the holster whatsoever. It's actually quite significant difference from the original sway bar to the much thinner titanium sway bar. And so this is Berkut 2 holster design. It is made for most of the pistols out there. One thing that I will say that we do not and will not offer Berkut 2 or even future Berkut 3 design with an option of weapon-mounted light. We experimented with it. It changes the design. It changes the balance of the holster in such a way that things that I was going for as far as the advantages that Berkut design would give a user become no longer available, or at least minimized to where it makes no sense. Additionally, my belief is that for a carry weapon, weapon-mounted light is not the best option. I do firmly believe, after many years of playing and experimenting, that handheld light is the way to do it, light separate from the weapon. Now, that might be different for your bedside gun. that might be different for your vehicle pistol. The reason for that is that if you only have a weapon-mounted light and you have to be engaged in the situation in a low-light environment where you're going to need to use the light to find the threat, to identify the threat, and then, if needed, to address the threat, you are using the light that's mounted on the weapon, and that weapon is right in front of you. So if we reverse this equation, what's behind the light? It's you. I do prefer to have in the search function weapon in front of me, I'm behind the weapon, and light is away from both of us. That way in the search function, if someone sees the light and they fire rounds at that light, I'm not directly, my center mass, my face, my vitals are not directly behind the light. I'm not saying that I like being hit in my forearm or whatnot, but if I had to make a choice, better here than here. The Berkut design and not having an option for weapons mounted light comes from my personal belief about the relationship between weapon mounted light and the carry pistol and its usage. You can get Berkuts too with the cuts for optics. You can get Berkuts right side, left side carry. They are appendix carry holsters. Some people have tried it to carry it at 3 o'clock. They are not designed for that. It will work, but it's not going to be the best holster for that kind of carry. I am still, all these years later, of a very firm belief that Berkut 2 still is unmatched in its features and what it offers. I think it still is the best damn holster inside the waistband appendix carry holster for concealed carry out there. And it is quite comfortable. We had many customers of different sizes, different ages, different beliefs and different habits that commented repeatedly that this is the most comfortable appendix holster they have ever tried. And some people that were against appendix carry strictly on the grounds of discomfort that it offered, found that Berkut has addressed those issues and now they are carrying appendix. Another nice thing, additional benefit that sway bar and the reverse cant gives you, due to pistol not having a traditional cant, the front end of the pistol, even if you carry full size, something like Glock 17, will not be digging into your upper thigh when you're sitting down, squatting down, driving in the vehicle, or for one reason or another decided to kick somebody in the throat. That front end of the pistol in the holster will not prevent you from doing that by the virtue of digging into your upper thigh. The reverse cant is kind of anatomically goes with your crotch design, so to speak, and your leg can move freely on the outside of the line of apex of the holster itself. Berkut does have adjustable retention. You can make it nice and tight. You can make it a little bit looser depending on your needs and your desires. It also has adjustable carry height. If you need deeper concealment, you can move the sway bar to the most upwards thing, and then it's going to sit concealed quite deep, or as I do, move it to the lowest attachment hole. That way the holster sits higher for the better access, but not as deep of a concealment. So this is a short tutorial on what fighting holsters should be. Can Berkut design or similar concept be improved? Yes. That is one of the reasons why we are looking into next iteration of Berkut, which we refer to for over a year and a half now as Berkut 3. Yes, it's been in development actually for closer to 3 years now. I am still not happy with what we have. If we improve concealment, it affects, not to a very large degree, but to a small degree in a negative way, accessibility. And I don't want to compromise that at all. I actually want to even improve accessibility while improving also comfort, and if everything works all right, possibly having couple points extra for concealability. Berkut 2 for now is it. That's the holster that I carry. That's the holster my wife carries in. That's the holster most of my students carry. And you can say I'm biased in my views, and you would not be wrong, but based on the response from many people that were very loyal to one or another company for many years, and those are not bad companies. A lot of those folks are my friends, people that own the companies and make and sell the holsters. They are high quality holsters. They are good companies that stand behind their product. Again, I have zero problems with most of them. My problem is design itself, the concept of what the holster is supposed to do and why it should perform certain things and allow you to do certain things certain ways versus dictating you what you have to do. I will also mention this. I know some folks will say that he was pointing the weapon in this direction, in this direction. Yes, I was. None of you are in any danger because you are miles away. And hours, days, possibly months or years away from when this was filmed and done. Even then, magazine was removed, a round was removed from the chamber, and everything was performed with unloaded, verified, safe weapon. Another thing, some folks may say that, look at the belt that he's using. Yes, I do have good quality gun belts. No, I did not use it while I'm filming this. Reason? Very simple. This is not the topic about full package. What pants you should wear, what underwear you should have under your pants. The topic of this video is holster, not belts, not magazine pouches, not tourniquets, not anything else. This is about holsters. I specifically did not put anything else on that could be used as a discussion that has nothing to do with this topic. So I hope that answers that critique that it comes. And who made that belt? I don't know. I know that it's over 10 years old, and if I remember correctly, I bought it at Target. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. If you do have questions, shoot them my way. And Sonny Puzikas here from Fort Honey Badger in East Texas. May God bless.